Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. I hope you've had a great start to your week, and I hope this video can help make it a little bit better. Since it is the start of the week, it's time for a new round of weekly adventures. So we have a 1.5, a 2, and a 3.5 star adventure. For the 1.5 up against Nautilus, we have Ascension's Toll. When you level up a champion, all players discard their hand. So some important things to note, this is only when you level up a champion, so you don't have to worry about the enemy, and this is going to affect both you and the enemy both having to discard your hand. Also important thing to note, this is not going to trigger Jinx star powers of dealing damage when your cards are discarded. Since it's being done by the star power and not by you yourself, your hand will get discarded, but you won't actually do any extra damage, so that isn't really great. As far as champions you want to use here, you either want to play some champions that you're probably going to win without leveling up, so like Miss Fortune or potentially Jack, or you could go with some champions that win shortly after leveling up, such as Gwen or Alawi, where normally you're playing Crown Guard Inheritance, so you attack, level up, rally, and then attack again to end the game. That would also be some valid options here. Or you could go for some champions that go with like Grand General's Counterplan, especially ones where their champion spell has a little bit of draw on it, so you can try to get back some of your cards and have more options on what to play. Also, champions that are able to generate more cards for them to play every round would also be helpful. So one champion that would be great here would be Annie. If you run Grand General's Counterplan, you're going to be making Annie's Disintegrate, which from her starting deck does also have some helpful items on it, such as Mana Potion and some extra draw. So every time you play it, it's just going to cost 1 mana, but it will be giving you extra draw. Also, Annie is able to generate a Guile every single round, so she would work out great here. Janna, her champion spell, also has draw on it, so running Grand General Counterplan on her would also be a good option here. Many different ways you can approach this, but it is just a 1.5 star, so it should be pretty easy. Next up then, for the 2 star against Victor, we have Mountain Peak. Game start, the foe summons a Targon's Peak. Round end, all players draw 1. So that Targon Peak, round start, reduced the cost of a random card in all players' hand to 0 this round. And then they also have Heroics. Round start, grant the foe's strongest ally 1/1 for each of their other allies. So again, a couple different ways you can play against this. You can go for some of the more expensive champions, such as like Ornn or Volibear, and hope you get lucky with the Targon's Peak hitting one of your important expensive units. I normally don't play that way just because I don't want to have to rely on getting lucky in order to do decent, but that is an option for you. You could also play someone like Janna, where that cost reduction is going to trigger a lot of your star powers. So in some regards, it doesn't matter what you get, you're just going to be getting a free cost reduced card every round, so Janna would actually be great here. But most of the time, I often just ignore this modifier and just focus on playing a solid champion. For the Heroics, you want to be trying to limit the enemy units as much as possible. You don't want them to have a full board, so any champions with a lot of removal will be great here. So Annie, Jhin, Yasuo actually wouldn't be bad. Garen, Kayn, Janna again would be decent here. Nami, there's a lot of different champions that are able to take out a lot of enemy targets, whether that's through spells or through challenging the enemy units and taking them off the board. And that's just really what you want to be focusing on with this modifier, making sure the enemy doesn't get too many units so they just start scaling out of control. Next up then, for the 3.5 against Tahm Kench, we have Duplication Glitch. When any player summons a unit that's already in play, grant it 1/1. So one thing to note with this power, in play means it has to already be on the board when you play the second copy of the card. So not just when you play the same card over again, or when you summon a unit again. So some champions like Miss Fortune or Gwen, they summon the same unit every single round. It's not going to be getting buffed by this because they only have one of that unit every round in most situations. So it's not like every time it's getting summoned, it's getting a additional 1/1. That's not the case here. One copy of the card already has to be on the board, and then the second copy of that card, when you play it, will be granted that 1/1. The main champions that can benefit from this, if you want to go that route, will be Tahm Kench, because when he captures a unit, he creates a copy of it. So you can just keep capturing your own units and then playing them to benefit from this if you wanted. Also Yuumi, if you use the Grand General's Counterplan on her. Not Yuumi, actually, sorry, Neeko. Neeko with Grand General's Counterplan, when you play her, if you disguise her as something else, the Grand General's Counterplan will create a copy of that card. so you can just keep playing it every single round. That being said, it's not really worth going through all the effort of trying to benefit from this. You're just getting 1/1. It's not anything too crazy. The next power we have though is Fan Favorite. Round start, give the foe's strongest unit 2 power and overwhelm this round, so they will be able to punch through your blockers. Having some CC to take care of this, so Yasuo, Ashe, Annie, they would all be pretty decent for just stunning or frostbiting whatever target the enemy gets. For this Fan Favorite, it's not that difficult of a power, you just really need to be aware of it and not get surprised by it. So it is something you really can deal with on any champion, but having some CC to just remove the threat every round is quite helpful. Then there also is the Vicious Enemy, which just makes everything a little bit harder. So pretty general powers. The Duplication Glitch you can go for, but really be better just to pick a solid champion here. And this shouldn't be too hard, so just play whoever you're most comfortable on. Be aware of the Fan Favorite so you don't get taken by surprise, and you should be fine. Alright, that's it for this set of weeklies. Nothing really too crazy here. Should be pretty easy. If you have any other helpful tips for your fellow players, definitely list those in the comments down below. And I hope you all have a great day.